everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm doing the Get to Know the Romance Reader book tag. So I was actually tagged by the creator Brie from Falling for Romance. I'll link her blog post down below. Thank you so much for tagging me, Brie. I am really excited to do this tag. There are 10 questions, so let's just get into it. Question number 1, what is your romance origin story? How did you come to read your first romance novel? Does Twilight count? I discovered Twilight when the first movie came out, which was 2008, I want to say. And then I kind of was just reading a lot of YA at that point, so I was really into the book community already. I was reading a lot of YA books and a lot of popular stuff, and I was on Goodreads, and that is actually how I found my first like true legit romance book, and that was The Last Boyfriend by J.S. Cooper. I barely remember this book, but I actually do remember reading it, and yeah, that is like the first actual romance book that I read, and I think I gave it 4 stars back in the day. And I read this back. I talked about it in my romance book tag. I think I read it back in 2012. I want to say maybe 2013. I literally cannot remember, but that is one of the first romance books I ever read. Number 2, if you could be the heroine in a romance novel, who would be the author, and what's one trope you'd insist be in the story? I would love to be a heroine in one of Karina Hallie's books because I love her books, and I just think she writes fantastic female characters. It would probably be some sort of dark romance / like suspense romance. I don't have like a particular trope that I would love to be a part of, but something dark from Karina Hallie I would love to be like in, I guess. Number 3, what is a romance you've read this year that you want more people to read? This question was really hard for me to think about because a lot of the ones that I would think of are dark romance. I just feel like across the board, dark romance is for like a very specific kind of romance reader, so I don't necessarily want more people to read dark romance, if that makes sense. I was going to mention The Friend Zone, but I know a lot of people feel like that book is very insensitive, so I don't really want to recommend it, but I did love that book. So I'm just going to go with Tinsel by Devney Perry. I really love this book. I think it's fantastic. It's emotional, it's heavy, it's cute. I really loved the characters and the romance. It's literally one of my favorites of the year. I loved it, and I cried while reading this. It was just so good, and I highly recommend. 4, what is your favorite romance subgenre? What subgenre have you not read much from? My favorite subgenre is probably dark romance, but is that a subgenre? Sometimes I get confused on like what subgenres are. I love dark romances and like any sports, but probably particularly hockey romances are my favorite. Those are my favorite subgenres. I also really love college romances. College sports romances, to be specific. And the subgenre I haven't read much from is historical romance. I feel like I'm horrible with historical romance. I rarely read it, and I know everybody loves historical romances. I just haven't really gotten into them. I've read a few, but I definitely need to read more. I think I just get really intimidated because it is such a huge subgenre, and I feel like there's so many authors who are very popular, and it's kind of intimidating. I've read some of Lisa Kleypas, is that how you say her name? Kleypas? I've read some of her historical romances and really enjoyed them. I just kind of need to like read more. Number 5, who is one of your auto-buy romance authors? I'm gonna go with R.S. Gray. I love her books. Sometimes her books can be hit or miss, and sometimes they can feel very similar to each other, but I always enjoy her books, and I always think they're fun to read. I will continue to read all of her books. I always buy her books on like release dates. So number 6, how do you typically find romance recommendations? I typically find them through Goodreads. I am like an avid Goodreads user, and I search everything on Goodreads. I use Goodreads religiously, like it is the place that I find everything, and I occasionally find new books through Instagram as well. Number 7, what is an upcoming romance release you're excited for? Twisted Bonds by Cora Riley. I'm so excited for that. That comes out on the 28th. I'm just so excited. I am very excited about Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren and Beard With Me by Penny Reed. I'm excited for all three of those. Very excited. Number 8, what is one misconception about romance you'd like to lay to rest? I could go on and on and on about all of the misconceptions and judgments that people place on romance books and like the romance community. There's not one particular misconception really. Like I tried to think about it, but there's nothing really that I mean, a big one is like, oh, how romance books are not real literature or whatever. I mean, there's no point in like arguing with people who think that way because clearly like they're stupid. So there's no point. I just get more annoyed when it's a judgment on like, oh, how it's still like shamed to read romance novels, or like how you should be embarrassed, or like whatever. Like I think that really bothers me, and I feel super passionate about not being ashamed of loving and reading romance novels, and it just really bothers me. It really bothers me, and I hate people who are so judgy about it. Even though the romance community is coming so far, it's still so far behind, and there are still a lot of issues in the community and like outside of the community. I don't know, I just want us to like all love romance novels and just love, because that's really what it's about, right? Like it's just about love. Why do we have to hate on romance novels? Because it's just about characters falling in love. What's the matter with that? There's not one misconception. There's like a million that I want to lay to rest, but like I don't have the energy to defend my points, if that makes sense. I'm tired of defending romance to people who clearly just don't get it. There's literally no point to that answer at all. I'm so sorry, but I can't. Number 9, who is the most recent romance reading content creator you came across that you'd like to shout out? This person is not new to the romance community, but she's new to BookTube, and I'm going to shout out Remarkably Lisa. I actually know her from Instagram because she's been on Instagram for a very long time, but she recently started a BookTube channel, and she has kind of posted that she's feeling a little bit unmotivated and defeated by BookTube. So I want to give her a shout out just because I feel like, yeah, it is really hard, but it's a great community, and I think if you stick to it, like it'll just be great. So I want to shout her out. Go check out her channel. I'll link it down below. I'll also link her Instagram as well, because we need more romance readers on BookTube. So if you love romance novels and you want to start a BookTube channel, go ahead, do it. Like we need more of you. We need more of us on this platform. If you read romance novels and you have a BookTube channel, leave it down below. Or if you want to shout somebody out in this community that I'm not aware of or that I'm not subscribed to, leave them down below, because I want to boost more romance readers on BookTube, and I just think it's great. And you know, we gotta spread the love, because I'm all about love. And the last question, number 10. If someone had never read a romance novel before and asked you to recommend the first 3 romances that come to mind as places to start, what would those recommendations be? I am going to recommend, obviously, the ones I always recommend starting romance with are The Hating Game by Sally Thorne and The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. And then also I'm gonna add in kind of a different one, but Gabriel's Inferno by Sylvain Renard. I feel like these two are very obvious picks for starting a romance with, because I just feel like they are some of the best in the genre, and I feel like they're both just written really well and have great characters and important messages, and they're just beautiful. Gabriel's Inferno is beautiful and unique, but in its own way. It has more of like a forbiddenness to it. It is a little bit more deeper, and I mean, not that these aren't that deep, but like it has a different deepness. Does that make sense? Yeah, it deals with more, I guess, like forbidden, taboo situations, still equally beautiful, and just, I feel like these are a great place to start if you're new to romance. Some of my favorites, so I highly recommend. So that is it for this tag. Thanks again to Brie for tagging me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!